Good day, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity to share the Philippines' experience in setting up a policy and institutional arrangement for M&E. And I would like also to discuss the case of ODA projects. Next slide, please. Okay. The government of the Philippines prepares medium to long-term development plan that articulates the goals that the country seeks to achieve for a given period of time, and the strategies, policy directions, and priority interventions to be employed to enable the achievement of the goals. Inspired by the global initiative of managing for development results, the Philippine Development Plan is accompanied by results matrix that contains a set of specific performance indicators or targets corresponding to the goals in the plan. The national budget concretizes the plan's policy directions and interventions in terms of specific programs, activities, and projects with their corresponding budgetary allocations. The plan program budget link can be threaded together by cause-effect relations, starting with the inputs or resources required. Second, the programs and projects to be carried out. Third, the outputs or the goods and services produced. Fourth, the outcomes or changes intended or unintended in the behavior of individuals and functioning of institutions arising from the goods and services provided by the government. And finally, the outcomes or the longer-term impacts of the government interventions that would lead to the achievement of the goals embodied in the plan. Next slide, please. The importance of monitoring and evaluation is already recognized in the various statutes of the Philippines and government issuances. These include the Administrative Code of 1987 of the Philippines. For instance, it provides that the National Economic and Development Authority to steer and coordinate the consultative process of preparing a medium-term development plan and medium-term public investment program, and to monitor and evaluate the plan implementation. The Department of Budget and Management to assist the President in the preparation, execution, and control of the national budget, and to monitor budget performance and press and assess effectiveness of agencies' operations. And all departments, bureaus, offices, or agencies of the government are required to submit semi-annual report of their accomplishments, both work and financial results, for the purpose of monitoring the efficiency and effectiveness with which budgeted funds are being utilized. Next slide. M&E is not only important to the planners and program implementers in the executive branch of the government. It is equally important to the elected members of Congress in the performance of their functions, namely legislation, oversight, and representation. Any bill or legislative proposal must go through intensive study and scrutiny or ex-ante evaluation before being approved and enacted into law. This includes stock taken and evaluation of existing laws on the subject. The relevance of monitoring and evaluation to Parliament is crystal clear, especially with regards to its oversight functions, which is almost synonymous with monitoring and evaluation. In this regard, I would like to refer to the rules of the House of Representatives of the Philippine Congress pertaining to the duties and functions of the various committees, which are the workhorse of Congress. The House rule provides that the committees shall have oversight responsibilities to determine whether or not laws and programs addressing subjects within their jurisdictions are being implemented and carried out in accordance with their intent, and whether or not they should be continued, curtailed, or eliminated. Many of the laws passed by Philippine Congress mandate monitoring and evaluation and the creation of oversight committees. The Annual General Appropriations Act, for instance, require all government agencies to adopt a web-based system that will improve the dissemination to the public of information on government services, programs, and projects, and a system of monitoring and evaluation to assess performance, relevance, and effectiveness of the agency's programs and projects. Next slide, please. Yeah. Starting with the Philippine Development Plan for 2011-2016, a results matrix was prepared to accompany the development plan. The results matrix contains statement of results to be achieved by the various strategies, programs, and projects outlined in the development plan. Pursuant to Administrative Order 25, an interagency task force was created in the first year of plan implementation to harmonize government performance monitoring, information, and reporting system. In 2014, a performance-informed budget was adopted in the General Appropriations Act, showing both financial and non-financial performance for the budget appropriation of each government agency. And in 2015, yes, my next slide. The National Economic Development Authority and the Department of Budget and Management issued a joint memorandum circular 2015-01 providing for a national evaluation policy framework for the purposive conduct of evaluation in the public sector. The National Evaluation Policy Framework provided for the creation of an interagency evaluation task force, which is tasked to develop a national evaluation agenda focused on themes, sectors, or programs that concern multiple agencies and that are critical to the success of the Philippine Development Plan. The National Evaluation Policy Framework also provides the guiding principles and evaluation standards and criteria for the systematic conduct of evaluation. It requires all government agencies to prepare rolling 6-year evaluation agendas, set up neutral and capable evaluation units to commission evaluation studies, and ensure the evaluation results are used for better project planning, programming, and implementation. However, with the change in government administration, the National Evaluation Policy Framework did not make much progress from 2016 to 2022. Nonetheless, there are signs of resurrecting the National Evaluation Policy Framework under the present administration with the recent convening of the Evaluation Task Force. Next slide. Allow me now to direct your attention to the oversight and monitoring of ODA projects. Republic Act number 8182, also known as the Official Development Act of 1996 as amended by Republic Act 8555, mandated the creation of the Congressional Oversight Committee on the Official Development Act to ensure, or the COCODA, to ensure that the proceeds of ODA are used to achieve equitable growth and development in all provinces of the country. For this purpose, the Act mandated NEDA to conduct an annual review of the status of all projects financed by ODA and identify causes of implementation and completion delays or reasons for bottlenecks, cost overruns, actual or prospective, which could affect the viability of the project or program. NEDA is required to submit to Congress a report on the outcome of the review not later than June 30 of each year. For continuous monitoring, Republic Act number 8182 also provides that all concerned implementing and oversight agencies shall submit to the NEDA, or the National Economic Development Authority, all information and reports as may be required by it to review and assess the performance of individual ongoing projects as well as the overall performance of all projects which are funded in whole or in part by official development assistance. Next slide, please. The regional project monitoring and evaluation system provides a way for the National Economic Development Authority to gather the necessary information for its annual review of ODA projects. The Regional Project Monitoring and Evaluation System requires all project implementers at the different government levels to monitor and report on the status of project implementation to the concerned project monitoring committees. The National Economic Development Authority is a member of the project monitoring committees and is responsible for the overall direction and coordination of monitoring activities at the national, regional level. The other members of the PMCs are from the Department of Budget and Management, DILG or OPMS. As pointed out earlier, there is a PM Project Monitoring Committee at the national, regional, and local government level. The Project Monitoring Committee provides the policies and guidelines and oversees the monitoring and evaluation activities of the implementing agencies at the different government levels. The Project Monitoring Committees are also responsible for developing and maintaining an information system to facilitate the generation of required reports. The Project Monitoring Committees also conduct problem-solving sessions, monitor implementation of recommendation, and conduct field monitoring visits on selected projects. Problems and issues in project implementation that cannot be resolved are elevated to the next higher level project monitoring committees. The institutionalization of monitoring and evaluation for development results is not an easy task. Experience shows that current government monitoring and evaluation systems have remained focused at the level of project implementation, assessing disbursement and expenditure performance and physical accomplishment, and addressing implementation bottlenecks. There are hardly any data or information to assess the performance, relevance, and effectiveness of the various programs and projects of the government. Next slide, please. The institutionalization of monitoring and evaluation for development requires both increasing the demand for and supply of performance information and evaluation evidence and their use in core government activities such as budget process, national planning, the management of agencies and programs, and mechanisms to establish accountability. In the countries that are still in the early stage of institutionalizing a monitoring and evaluation system, such as the Philippines, or still do not have an M&E system, the legislation of a national monitoring and evaluation policy can be a pivotal step. Unlike executive orders and issuances that cover only the executive agencies, a legislated monitoring and evaluation policy will apply and create the impetus for the conduct and use of monitoring and evaluation in all branches of government. It can ensure leadership support amidst election changes in government administration. It can help clarify and establish a common understanding of the goals to be pursued. It can provide guidance on what monitoring and evaluation components, such as standards, procedures, or capacity development that should be developed, how they should be undertaken, and how they must work together. It can mobilize support of the private sector and external partners. It can also help the allocation of appropriate resources to monitoring and evaluation. My next slide, please. Several bills to institutionalize a national monitoring evaluation policy or national monitoring and evaluation policy have been filed in the Philippine Congress, both at the House of Representatives and the Senate. Public hearings were conducted at the committee level in both chambers during the 18th Congress. However, due to other pressing matters and the lack of material time, the bills did not get enacted. The bills were again filed in the 19th Congress and included in the list of legislative priorities in the Philippine Development Plan 23 to 2029. Thank you for your attention.